Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney and today is Thursday, March 10th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. This is where we talk about the stories that matter most to you here in Northeast Ohio. These are the stories that you are clicking on, reading, and sharing from our website and our app. Let's start off with the latest update out of Ukraine concerning Russia. The latest peace talks have yet to resolve anything, and now Ukrainian and Western officials are calling that attack on a maternity ward by Russian officials, that attack by Russian troops on a maternity ward in Ukraine, they're calling it a war crime. We know now that 3 people have died in that attack. Emergency workers are redoubling their efforts to get food and medical supplies into the cities and get traumatized civilians out of Ukraine. Ukrainian authorities said a child was among one of the people killed in that airstrike in the vital southern port of Mariupol, and 17 people were wounded, including women waiting to give birth, doctors, and children buried in that rubble. Now, photos of pregnant women covered in dust and blood were all over news reports. Many countries saw those. That brought a new portrait, a new picture of the terror that's happening in Ukraine as this war has been going on for 2 weeks now. Thousands of soldiers and civilians have been killed, and the foundations of European security have been shaken, and more than 2.3 million people have been driven out of Ukraine to date. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told Russian leaders that the invasion will backfire on them and that their economy is strangled. Western sanctions have already made a big impact on the economy in Russia. The ruble has plunged. That's their form of denomination. Foreign businesses have left the area. That includes today investment company Goldman Sachs, investment bank Goldman Sachs, and prices are increasing in Russia. Zelensky said in a video address that Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, would be prosecuted for complicity in war crimes and that he'd be hated by Russian citizens. He said, "Everyone whom you've been deceiving constantly, daily, for many years in a row, when they feel the consequences of your lies in their wallets, in their shrinking possibilities, in the stolen future of Russian children." Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin sort of shrugged this off. He dismissed it. He said the country has dealt with sanctions before. Here's a quote from him. "Just as we overcame these difficulties in the previous years, we will overcome them now." This was in a televised meeting of government officials. He did, however, acknowledge that the sanctions create, quote, certain challenges. Back here at home, we now know that GE Lighting has sold Nela Park and is closing 2 Ohio plants. That's the home of GE Lighting, and it's considered the world's first industrial park, so it'll be under new ownership. It'll be owned by an affiliate of Milwaukee-based Phoenix investors. They'll be acquiring the park on Noble Road in East Cleveland. GE Lighting will continue to operate there after signing a long-term lease, which is good for the 250 employees of GE Lighting, and the Nela Park holiday light tradition will continue. However, GE Lighting did say that it will be closing 2 Ohio plants. The Bucyrus light bulb plant will be closing, as well as the Logan glass plant. And we don't know yet when those plants will officially close. Now, in Sandusky, there is a bookshop that is taking a stand against censorship by creating a banned book section. Last fall, the American Library Association reported that it received an unprecedented 330 reports of book challenges nationwide. That's between the beginning of September and the end of November. Parents, school board members, lawmakers, they're challenging books at a rate that has not been seen in decades, according to the American Library Association. So in response to this, people are protesting the removing of books, and it's showing up in the form of banned book clubs and in mail order services, and in this case, a banned book section. It's at the Dandelion Gift Store that's in Sandusky. It's known for fair trade goods, so they've got a whole corner of their business that's been cleared out for these banned books. Robin Lloyd, who owns the Dandelion with her wife Nikki, said, you know, seeing the color purple was a huge one. Seeing Charlotte's Web on these lists, huge one. So they wanted to take a stand and they wanted to create this section for banned books. Now, a lot of these banned books, they focus on topics like race, gender, and sexuality. Those seem to be targeted more frequently. So Robin Lloyd said, if you look at the type of the books being banned, you know, The Bluest Eye by Lorraine native Toni Morrison, they're real stories. They're topical, they're timely, they're by Black authors, they're LGBTQ topics, and that is not something that the Dandelion store stands for, so they have created this banned book section. So if you want to check that out, that is in Sandusky. Now back here in the Cleveland area, Cleveland's radar system is getting an upgrade. You're seeing crews now removing the dome off the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport radar tower. That's because there's some refurbishing that needs to be done. It needed an upgrade. They have a certain lifespan. That's according to Patrick Saunders of the National Weather Service in Cleveland. The radar and the pedestal, they're designed to last about 25 years, and that radar had exceeded its lifespan. So they needed to do this in order to keep the radar functioning for another 20 years or so. So that's underway right now. We've been streaming that on WKYC.com. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health. And with today being Thursday, that'll be important just in a moment. So let's take a look at those numbers. Right now, there are 718 people in the hospital being treated for COVID-19. Out of those people, 131 of them are being treated in the ICU. And in the last 24 hours, the ODH has reported 868 official new COVID-19 cases. Now remember, these case numbers do not include at-home testing. So these are those official numbers coming in from medical facilities and those official PCR testing sites. But we are now entering a new phase, according to Ohio Department of Health Director Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff. And so Ohio will only be reporting COVID-19 case data and this sort of data once per week, and that will be on Thursdays, and that will start next week. He said Ohio is one of only a handful of states who have still been reporting this information daily, but they're going to make that switch because we're now entering a new phase of the situation, so it will come out only on Thursdays. Dr. Vanderhoff says this is in line with what medical officials at the CDC are saying is how we should focus on the benchmarks moving forward to see where we are in terms of the COVID-19 situation, looking more at the community impact. So not focusing on those case numbers, looking at the severity of illness in the community, the hospitalizations, and that sort of thing. Another change. Kindergarten through 12th grade schools will no longer be required to report positive COVID-19 cases to the local health departments unless the school tests a student for COVID-19 and the result is positive. So if the school is doing the testing, then yes. And the COVID-19 school reporting dashboard will be archived. Now, switching gears here, Girl Named Tom is an Ohio band, and you might remember that they won NBC's The Voice, and then things took a turn for them. They came back here to Ohio because we know their father had been dealing with cancer. Well, they lost their father to cancer, and now they're talking with me on my 3 Things to Know podcast. We had an exclusive interview, and they tell me how it feels to be honoring their dad by doing what he was so adamant that they keep doing, putting out those shows, being on that tour. So they're on tour now, and they will be here in Ohio this Saturday. They'll be in Springfield March 12th with a show. That's on Saturday. So we talk about what it's been like since winning The Voice, how things have changed, how things have stayed the same, how they're able to stand each other, being siblings, you know. Josh, Caleb, and Becca, they're siblings. Becca's the youngest, you know, and she's got her 2 older brothers. And I talk with them about what that's like and whether they've gotten their own cars yet. So you can find that at WKYC.com/3 Things to Know. It's a great conversation. Again, Ohio natives from Pettisville, Ohio, and they will be performing this weekend. Now here in Cleveland as well, Progressive Field has started installing its Guardians scoreboard. That's today. It's going to take about 6 days. They expect to be done on Wednesday, March 16th. So it's a new script Guardians sign that will be on the outfield scoreboard at Progressive Field. Weather permitting, they do hope that it'll only take 6 days. So again, expect it to be done on March 16th next week. And we are also streaming that if you want to watch that process on WKYC.com. And if you're a bird watcher, the time has come for the buzzards to return to Hinckley. March 15th, every March 15th, dating back to 1957, the buzzards are welcomed back to the Hinckley Reservation here in Northeast Ohio by the Cleveland Metro Park's official buzzard spotter. And that will be happening again this year. And that spotter this year is Natalie Schroeder at the Buzzard Roost, which is just off the State Road near West Drive at the Hinckley Reservation. So the fun will start on the 15th at 8 a.m. This is the 65th Buzzard celebration. It continues on Sunday, March 20th. There'll be an all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast and a craft fair. That'll be at Hinckley Elementary School. We have all those details on WKYC.com. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Thursday, March 10th. I will see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.